Hello and welcome back to another episode of Inside the Asperger Studios. Do you have ASD or ADHD? Are you dealing with insomnia and trying to find that right amount of sleep? Well, my next guest has created a weighted pillow. That's right, a weighted pillow that he says will help you fall asleep. So sit back, relax, and grab your favorite beverage, and let's learn more about him and this fabulous weighted pillow of his. See you there.
I wanna believe in the truth, but only see what I'm shown. Got the freedom to choose, but can't decide on my own. Follow what the group is thinking, bottle up my intuition till it's popping out the.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Inside the Asperger Studios. Today I'm joined with Mikey Goldmen, the CEO and founder of Quiet Mind, the weighted pillow. Welcome to the show, Mikey.
Thank you so much for having me. How are you doing?
I'm fine. So let's start off with, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Mikey Goldman. Right now I'm in Santa Monica, California. I've been in LA for, a little over 5 years. I come from a tech marketing background and I launched Quiet Mind, officially in May of 2023, but it was an idea and a product I was working on for just over 2 years to create the world's first weighted pillow.
So let's talk a little bit about you first. You have ADHD. So when were you diagnosed?
I was diagnosed when I was in middle school. And, that was probably 20 years ago or so, a little over that. And it was something that my mom, I always remember her saying, he has ants in his pants. He can't sit still. And it was ants in my pants. It was a sensory processing disorder because if I heard sounds, I would hyper focus on these sounds and I'd really become infuriated. I'd kind of lose my temper. Smells really got to me, more strong smells than they should have. And so finally it was going, okay, what's going on with this person? Let's go get him tested. And it was, hey, you have math dyslexia, you have a sensory processing disorder, and you have ADHD. And it all kind of made sense, but at the time, ADHD wasn't readily, accepted or widely accepted. And it was more, oh, okay, well, now this is kind of the excuse for him. But how do you treat it? Stimulants, medication. And so my
Mhm.
parents said, nope, we're gonna wait. You can decide once you get to college. And so growing up, it was a struggle to kind of control of these things and figure out what's going on. How do I operate with this diagnosis?
All right. So when you got diagnosed, would you say that your world changed for you?
Not really, because back then, again, it was, well, you're gonna get extra time on tests, so that was really helpful. It gave me I don't want to say excuse for, but for lack of a better word, it gave me the excuse for some poor performance or lack of focus in school. Um, because back then it was all right. Now that I do get extra time, that's helpful. So when I'm in tests, I get more, but I'm studying, I get more. But really, it wasn't until college, I think, when okay, I actually tried some of the medication to
Mm-hmm.
help with these symptoms, that then it was maybe more, life changing. But at the time of the diagnosis, it was really just more of a, well, we can say this, but that's about it.
Now, how do you manage your ADHD now?
Yeah, so I tried the medication route, and I when I was in college, it did work really well. The problem was I had side effects, and when I told my doctor that, let's prescribe more medication to treat those side effects. So I was being prescribed things that maybe I didn't have, and I graduated on a million things, and so my mental health, mental well-being just deteriorated. And so I get off everything, years later after once I'm in the workforce, and I tried to figure out, how do I control this? How do I alleviate my symptoms, take care of my mental health, my ADHD? And I learned that I need structure, routine more than anything. I need to take that decision out of my mind and I need to be able to wake up and just follow a pattern. So I wake up in the morning and I start with a workout. And this, not only gets my yayas out, gets my energy out, but it gives me my first win. It gives me that first sort of natural dopamine hit, where with people with ADHD, they have lower dopamine levels. So then this is a way to get that natural dopamine right off the bat. Then I come home. I have the same breakfast every single morning. I make a smoothie. I get in the shower. I wear the same shirts every single day, where it's some type of, Vuori is the brand I like, but it's this athleisure shirt because I like the way it feels actually, where it looks elevated enough, but it feels a certain way. And I've noticed where if I don't do that, I will sit there and I'll look at my shirts and I go, oh, I might do this today. I might do this today. But what if I do this today? And then I just sit there and I don't make a decision. Where in reality, I would not do any of those things because I do the same thing every day. I even switched from coffee to matcha. Coffee with ADHD people can sometimes make them sleepy or make you really crash. And so matcha gave me this consistent and sort of natural energy without that overstimulation. I take fish oil to help with, neurotransmitters in the brain. You help those receptors move along. And then again, it's just diet, eat the same thing every day, take the decision out for lunch and dinner, and really be on this routine based lifestyle.
Right. What would you say your hyperfocus is?
Hyperfocus. Oh man, it's an interesting thing because this is something where when I was a kid, this is the opposite of what the ADHD diagnosis almost did,
Mm-hmm.
where at times we'd say, well, is there a lack of effort? Is there a lack of knowledge, understanding, education? Why can he not figure out some of these things? But then there's something else where when I do hyperfocus, I can, understand the entire thing more than anybody else, dictate it back. I understand all the, nuances. And they're going, hold on, this doesn't make any sense. Why for something that complex can he get, but not this? And it was, whenever there's an interest of mine, I will 2 weeks and I'll learn everything about it. Tune out the rest of the world. I'll become an expert. But then after that 2 weeks, I move on, I get past it. And so there was a lot of that growing up with the hyperfocus where you get obsessed with something, you learn everything about
Mm-hmm.
it, but then you move on. And it has to pique your interest. And that's the weird thing where it's almost, you can't just turn it off, turn it on. It's something comes out of the blue and then that grabs you for those 2 weeks and then you're off. But with the weighted pillow, which is why I'm doing it today, it was something that grabbed my attention from the get-go. And then right off the bat, I just never gave it up. And so those 2 weeks passed and I kept going. And so I always say that, the weighted pillow or hyper focus is a superpower for people with ADHD. It's just
Mm-hmm.
figuring out how to harness it.
Yeah. All right. Now let's talk about the weighted pillow. Where did that idea come from, and what do you attribute to the idea?
Yeah. So are you familiar with weighted blankets?
Yeah, I know in the autism world, I know a weighted blanket is a blanket that weighs a little bit more than average, and people like it because it gives them the feeling of it's like a blanket you give to a dog when it's thundering out the like it's that extra hug.
Yep, exactly. And I mean, most people, when they've gone to the dentist, they put a weighted vest on you for
Yeah.
x-rays. It's the same thing. And I first discovered these, during my getting off prescription medication. How do I naturally kind of alleviate symptoms? So I got a weighted blanket. They're promoted, they're advertised to help promote calm, relaxation, help you fall asleep better. And I got one and I go, oh, this is great. I'm gonna be taking it from my bed to my couch all over. Pain in the butt to move. It's heavy, it's cumbersome, it's just not an enjoyable experience. So I left it on my bed and I would use it to sleep. But it's hot, it's claustrophobic. I would wake up in the
Mhm.
middle of the night and I'd be too hot. So you're trying to throw it off when you have no strength, or then you're trying to pull it on when you're too cold. And I already slept with a pillow under my arm, and I slept with one kind of in between my legs or on top of me. And it just hit me one night. And it was weighted pillow. I go, yeah, I should get a weighted pillow. That makes total sense. I searched for one and I couldn't find it. And that was that moment where it was this aha light bulb moment. I go, I should do this. This is something that I should get into because weighted blankets are incredibly popular. A lot
Mhm.
of people got them during COVID because of anxiety, sleep issues, loneliness. But they are a hassle. And I think more people now have them sitting in the corner of their room than using them. And so that was the inspiration to go, I should offer a different product to the market and the community that I'm a part of that can help them out. Let's go do this.
That's funny you mentioned you sleep with something under your arm. That's how I sleep actually, because I like to put my arm around something when I sleep.
Yeah, it's something about it's just it's comforting because you're like
Yeah.
holding on to something. There is a psychology too behind hugging a pillow while sleeping, not a weighted one, just hugging a regular pillow. And there's reason behind it because when you're hugging or holding something, you release oxytocin. Oxytocin is your love hormone, your cuddle hormone. So when people know this one from social bonding, and when you're releasing this hormone, you have feelings of safety, security. You have a sense of grounding, a sense of companionship, and so these traits will alleviate loneliness, and that's why people have already been sitting on a couch, they're holding a pillow, they're in bed, they're hugging onto a pillow because it's helping you feel more safe and secure. So it's the same reason you're probably doing it, same reason I was doing it. And so I just figured, wait a sec, if I'm already doing that, well, let's add weight to that. And then it'll increase all the effects and it'll become more effective than what I was using. And that sort of was the motivation.
What kind of reception has it gotten?
I mean, it's been amazing. It's truly been amazing where my whole story was one of saying, hey, I went down the route of prescriptions, being overprescribed and wanting to try something else because those do work really well. But I wanted to, I for the way I did it, I had to get off. And it was, something of saying, what are the other natural solutions? And people are in the same boat, whether they're on stimulants medication or not. It's just another tool for them. And they go, hey, this is so simple. This is so effective, but it works well. And parents reach out and they're going, hey, this has saved my kid. He's finally calmed down. It's a way to regulate their emotions. People use it for their insomnia and they write in and they say, this is the first thing that's, finally done the trick. Me and my husband are fighting over it, or me and my wife are fighting over it. My kid took it, so I had to order another one. And it's truly been amazing to see, especially because again, like I said, whether you have ADHD, you're in the neurodivergent community, you have mental health issues, autism, loneliness, depression, there's such a wide range of issues that people can benefit from using this that it really is it's been a fun ride to be a part of.
Have you had anyone ask you like, can you make a weighted teddy bear for them?
We have heard when are you coming out with the kids version? Because so right now we have a 6 pound, we have a 9 pound, and we have a 12 pound, and that's our small, medium, large. And that 4, 5, 3.5, somewhere in that realm for someone smaller, we have a weight guide that to kind of place you with your perfect pillow on the website, but they're going, well, what about the smaller ones? And so we are working on a smaller one, whether we're going to make the, just an extra small weighted pillow, do something fun with it. Because we know the kids market is one that will really benefit from these. So yeah, we do get that a lot because the parents also try them and they go, oh my gosh, I want to give my kid one. I want him to calm down. And we've even had parents write in and go, my kid takes this with him everywhere. It's becoming the companion because they don't know why, but they're going, hey, this makes me feel good. So I'm gonna use it.
It's like the blanket from Peanuts that Linus used to carry around all with him.
Yeah. It's we're replacing blankies. I mean, I had a blankie when I was a kid, and yeah, I mean, it's because when you look at, so there's a science behind it. It's called deep pressure stimulation, and our body uses like we have 5 senses that most people know: smell, touch, taste, sight, sound.
Hmm.
But then there's 3 others, and we're tapping into this proprioception one, where it's weight and pressure on your joints, your muscles, your tendons, sends neurotransmitters to your brain to tell it to do something. And that's how everything we operate. Our brains, we take stimulation in and we process it. And so for this, we take the weight and pressure in, we process it, and it says, oh, let's increase your serotonin. That's your mood boosting hormone. Oh, let's increase your dopamine, your focus hormone, your focus and alertness hormone. Oh, let's increase your serotonin or your melatonin, your sleep hormone. So with weight and pressure, you're increasing all these feel good hormones naturally. You're helping your body relax, slow your heart rate, and you're counteracting cortisol, which is your stress hormone. So when people are in panic attacks, they're nervous, they're anxious, your stress hormone, cortisol, shooting up. So the other 3 are going to push it way down. And that is why someone goes, hey, this works. I want to keep that thing around with me because it makes me feel better.
If, technically, you can say you're in the feel better business.
Yeah, we are in the feel better business. We're in the feel better business. We're in the self-soothing business, which I think is actually just as a whole, that market is really growing. I think a lot of it was, pre-COVID. And I don't want to generalize too much, but I do think it was more, I have a problem, doctor's going to fix it. That was the way, especially, years ago, that's really how it was. Now it's how do I take it into my hands? How do I unwind at home? How do I self-soothe at home? How do I take control of my feelings, my emotions, my mental health on my own? And people are really starting to, figure out what are these options. I mean, I don't know if you have experience with CBD, but that is something that really has taken off. Same thing with nootropics. Those have really taken off. People are trying to figure out mushrooms, and I don't mean the psychedelic ones, but lion's mane, cordyceps, where it's, hey, what can we do that's natural to take my emotions, my feelings into my own hands.
All right. Now, would you contribute your ADHD to the idea of the pillow?
100%. 100%, which I think it's the reason I'm doing it. Truthfully, because like we were talking about with overstimulation, or sorry, hyperfocus. It's weird to say, but when the idea came to me, I'm in bed and I'm wrestling with the weighted blanket. And the way just weighted pillow comes into my mind, it pops in and it's so clear. It just the way I heard, I read, saw weighted pillow. I from that moment became so obsessed with this idea. And I don't really know why. I had a job, I was working somewhere else. And just every single day, this is what I wanted to do. I researched where are the weighted pillows. I bought stuff on Amazon. Okay, let me see if it works. Once I realized it worked, then I said, what's the market size? Let me put a PowerPoint together to see how many, what would I even, market this as, target this as, who would buy this thing, and just kept doing it day after day after day. I reached out to somebody and I said, "Hey, man, can I pitch this idea to you?" And it was actually it was Nick Woodman, the GoPro founder and CEO, because I knew him from my tech marketing days in Silicon Valley. So I got a crazy idea. I'm not, I just want to tell. I want you to tell me I'm crazy, because again, you hear weighted pillow and you're like, it's so simple, it's so easy. Like maybe I'm missing something. And so I just told him, I go, I have a weird idea. Tell me I'm wrong. And he's like, this is amazing. This makes total sense. If kids are struggling with ADHD, this is a tool for them. If parents are deciding, should we put them on medication or not, you could start with this, because people with ADHD, they have lower dopamine levels. You can increase their dopamine with a weighted pillow. And he gave me the confidence and he said, hey, you can't find funding. I'll invest in you. And hearing that from a guy who built, this massive
Mhm.
GoPro company, I just said, I got to do this. And I would not have gotten there without Hyperfocus, because I had blinders on. I just kept doing it. I started doing it more than my job.
All right. Now, do they come in do you sell them in different colors or is it just one color? Or...
So we have four colors, and we started with blueberry and agave green. And you and I were talking about this offline a little bit, where when I was launching, I was gonna do a blue, kind of a navy, and a gray. And I was looking for color inspiration, and I remember seeing this tweet that went viral, and it said, "Does anyone make a weighted blanket in anything other than mental illness green or mental illness gray?" And so I saw that, and I go, okay, well, I'm not going to do gray. We're going to bring some more color. So we came out with our agave green, which is like a darker green, has some gray undertones, and a navy blue called blueberry. Blueberry is my
Mhm.
favorite fruit, so I said let's mimic it after that, and it is the blueberry color. And then after 4 months, we launched cashew, which is sort of like our off-white, our neutral, and then we also came out with chili oil. And so we have those four colors right now, and we should be launching, over the next couple months, some new exciting colors. And right now, people seem to love all of them, so it's been pretty good.
All right, let's get back to you a little bit. What tools do you use to help you with your ADHD?
Yeah, I would say, you kind of like we touched on, the most important thing for me is that structure, that routine, which I call it a tool, because
Hmm.
it takes discipline. You have to really follow it every day, aka you have to use it every day. So that's the first tool. Matcha is another tool for me, where I think coffee just wasn't working. Whether it just made me tired, whether it was a huge crash after the big spike. And so that, was something that didn't work. And then it's supplementation, where I take theanine, which is the L-theanine is in matcha, and it's the reason when you have caffeine in matcha, you spike up, but it's calm, because theanine is sort of the blanket over the caffeine. So it's this calm energy. And so I take that at night to quiet my mind, along with the weighted pillow, and I'm always looking for what are these other supplements that really help quiet the noise. There's a company called Ollie. They make these rest pills. It's a nootropic, there's like passion flower in it, there's some supplementation. And so these are more of these natural things that I'm using to figure out how to control ADHD. Same thing with fish oil. And I'm always sort of trying and testing something that's, going to help settle things down, help me focus in a natural way. And then, of course, the weighted pillow.
All right, now do you have running thoughts?
What do you mean by running thoughts?
You constantly have thoughts going through your head at any given time.
Yes, yeah. So I call it the internal monologue that never quits. My internal monologue is crazy. It's nonstop, and that was sort of the name. That was the reason for the name Quiet Mind. I remember it was so the I started really the idea came to me April of 2021, and I officially jumped in May and put some money into it myself and said, let's kick this off. And that entire summer, I'm sitting there going, "What? I need a name. I need a name." Every day, I'm thinking of a name, and the ones I would come up with, they'd already be trademarked or something. And every night, I'm just losing my mind, I could not quiet it. And one night, I got so frustrated, I was like, "I just need to quiet my mind." And then it kind of hit me, quiet mind. And then I go, "That's the goal. That can be the goal for the company." The goal for the company is to create products and deliver products that help quiet your mind, because the racing monologue inside of me that never quits is can really become debilitating at times, and it's why sometimes I can't sleep. And so that's where the name came from, because of that racing internal monologue.
All right. Now, what advice would you give to someone who's first diagnosed with ADHD?
Yeah, it's a definitely a different time getting diagnosed now, and I always say, so just to preface it with the weighted pillow, it's another tool in your toolbox to help alleviate symptoms. And so whether that's with medication or without medication, that's sort of the area I place it. And when you get diagnosed, it's okay, look at your options. And I always recommend start with the routine, start with the structure, and start with doing things a little bit differently to alleviate those symptoms. And then if that doesn't work, then of course, try other means. But when you get that diagnosis, you're going to have to manage it. And I have found from years and years of trying it, research and stuff, that a big part of it is routine based and taking that indecision out, because then you can't let the mind run rampant. You cannot let the mind do its own
Hmm.
thing if you're going off a structure. So I would first say start with a structure, map that out, map what your day looks out, and take out as much decision as you can to get through the day.
All right. And how do you keep yourself organized?
Yeah, the organization, it's a struggle at times, where sometimes I'll go in my room, and even though my laundry hamper's over there, the clothes can be right next to it, which is a weird thing with ADHD, because there's stuff where something that's so simple, you could people from the outside might go, that's just being lazy. But there's something with you
Hmm.
within ADHD that it's not being lazy. It's almost, there's this exhaustion side of it. There's this going, oh my gosh, I have no energy to do that, because of the lack of discipline, the lack of focus that comes with doing that simple task. Because like I said, ADHD people, they have lower dopamine. So
Yeah.
if you already have a lower hormone that is supposed to help you focus and give you the motivation, the simple tasks are not going to be performed well. So if I have everything else going in my life where I'm running, a million miles an hour, and I'm doing, my routine, and then something pops up that's not in it, that is where the struggle comes and the organization comes. So it's still a work in progress, and it's one of those things that I am pretty good at, as days go by, making sure everything, my ducks are in order, so to speak. But it's adding things to the routine is when the organization becomes better.
And finally, where can people find out more about you and Quiet Mind?
Yeah, so the company name Quiet Mind, it's onequietmind.com, ONE quietmind.com. We're trying to give one quiet mind at a time. And our Instagram is at Quiet Mind. And then our TikTok is One Quiet Mind, which is a little confusing, but our Instagram is our main place along with our website. Um, and we have a really fun, size quiz to place you with what size to have and give you that perfect pillow. And we do free returns, free shipping. We make it as easy as possible, because again, when I set out to make this thing, I really wanted a premium product that was the ultimate sensory relieving tool.
Mhm.
And I became obsessed with this idea. So, we have a patent pending design on it where you can't actually feel the weight. Like, this isn't a what's it called? A bean bag. This is,
Yeah.
something that you think is a regular pillow. It's squishy, it's comfortable, it actually has weight in it. And we have premium, high density memory foam to take the shape of your body. I created a custom ultra plush, ultra soft fabric to give your fingertips the sensory delight. So we have a higher price on it, but that's because I dedicated, 2 years to this thing to say, hey, I was taking medication every day. You're going to use your weighted pillow every day. I wanted something that worked the same. And that's also why we do free shipping, free returns, because I want people to get it in their hands and I want them to go, yeah, this is really well done. This is a really cool product. So I always recommend trying them. And the last thing I'll say, it's fascinating how the nervous system works, where I started in the medium category and I would put the large on me and it felt uncomfortable. And I was like, that's weird. But that's because for most, this is a new sensation. So more pressure, more of these hormones release. And when I would put the large on, so many hormones would be released that I would get, my nervous system go, whoa, what's going on here? But now after a month of using it, I'm only using the large because I've adapted and I find it the most comforting, the most calming. So there is always, a growing, a learning curve with our weighted pillows. And I definitely think that they're a great tool for people, mental health, autism, ADHD, depression, loneliness, stress, anxiety, whatever it is, insomnia, it works well. And then if you just want to unwind and that's part of your routine, like now the weighted pillow is in my routine at night. It's cool. I'm done with work. I'm gonna sit on the couch or grab my weighted pillow. That helps me quiet my mind. And I think it works really well.
So it's kind of like a body pillow.
It's like a huggable body pillow, but it works a little bit better, a little bit stronger, a little bit more effective. Because that's the other thing like I just mentioned with weighted products, it's deep pressure stimulation. More pressure, more of these hormones released. So if you have a weighted blanket and you think about it, they're just touching your body. So you have
Hmm.
all these little pressure points that's giving you the feeling. But if you put more pressure, so more pressure on your body, it's going to release more hormones. So the weighted blankets work, but a weighted pillow works more effectively and efficiently. And you're not going to be crushed by it. You're not going to stop breathing. Like it's nothing even close to that. It just becomes comfy, and then you hug it, and then you're sitting there going, "Wow, I'm really comfortable right now. Why is this? I'm really relaxed." And it's just you're getting that hug, with the oxytocin plus the everything else.
And that's it, everybody. That's Mikey Goldman, The Quiet Mind, and I'm Reed Miles, and I'll see you in the next one. See you there.